Each powerful surge of his body sent waves of warmth deep inside me, filling every part of me as his groans shifted into deep, primal sounds. His body trembled above me, overtaken by the sheer force of his emotion. His muscles tensed and relaxed in rhythmic waves, every ounce of his need pouring into me, and the intensity left me quivering beneath him. It was overwhelming. My body responded uncontrollably as I matched his release with my own. I couldn't stop shaking, my fingers gripping his arms as I expressed the sheer, unbearable pleasure of it all. He looked down at me, his eyes wild with satisfaction. For a few long seconds, the world seemed to stop, our bodies frozen in the blissful aftermath of what we had shared. His hands softened their hold on me, his touch now tender as he leaned down to kiss me, his lips warm and full of gratitude. "You're amazing," he murmured, his breath ragged as he pressed his forehead to mine. "I've never felt anything like this." My body trembled as waves of aftershocks rippled through me. The connection between us was undeniable. His lips captured mine, tender yet commanding, and I kissed him back with urgency, my fingers curling into his back, feeling the reality of us anchor within me. He was perfect, shaped by time and life into someone I hadn't even realized I was waiting for. My heart raced as the weight of it all settled over me. What happens next? I wondered, my mind spinning. What did this mean for us? For me? Could this moment stay ours, or had we crossed a line that would forever alter everything? His hand cupped my cheek, grounding me as his thumb traced my jawline. "You're incredible," he murmured, his voice low and full of awe. "I don't know how we got here, but I know I'm not letting go." I swallowed hard, his words wrapping around me like a promise. My hand slid down his back to rest on his hips, which were still pressed into my body. I whispered, "What now?" He pulled back just enough to meet my gaze, his playful grin tugging at the corners of his lips. That mischievous glint in his eyes was enough to make me laugh softly, even as my body trembled in the aftermath of him. Rolling onto his back, he stretched with a lazy satisfaction that only fueled the heat still lingering between us. I felt it then, the rush of warmth spilling from me, undeniable, mingling with the evidence of our passion on the bed. The reality of what we'd just done made my cheeks flush even as I bit my lip. "Clean up your mess," he teased, his voice a low rumble, dripping with amusement and pride. He gave me a lopsided smirk, his eyes raking over me as if he'd just conquered the world. "You know exactly what I mean, don't you?" he said, his thumb on his bottom lip, opening my mouth and making it clear he was still in control. I looked down at the evidence of our connection, the sheets clinging to our skin, and the undeniable traces of our intimacy scattered around us. His softened body, still glistening, invited me closer. "You're insatiable," I said with a smirk, my voice playful yet filled with a challenge. The air between us was thick with unspoken promises, the room heavy with the weight of our closeness, and I couldn't help but marvel at the way he seemed to always want more. "What can I say? I love being close to you," he said with a smile. I took a deep breath, pushing myself up from the bed, my knees weak and trembling beneath me. As I knelt by his side, I felt the warm, lingering evidence of our connection, the sensation making my body tremble all over, the rawness of what we had just shared, the intimacy, the unfiltered connection, left me breathless. Slowly, reverently, I leaned closer, my lips brushing against him as I began to express my devotion. Each movement was deliberate, an offering of my affection, savoring the taste of our shared experience. His hand tangled in my hair, gently guiding me, not out of need, but as a reminder of his control. I looked up at him, my eyes wide and brimming with emotion. I belong to you, I whispered, the words tumbling out, but they felt true. He smiled, his hand stroking my cheek. I know, he said softly, his voice thick with satisfaction. You're mine now, completely. I felt a rush of warmth flood my chest, a mixture of surrender and pride. The person I had been hours before felt like a distant memory. Now, in his arms and under his gaze, I had found something new, a purpose, a desire to give him everything. I rested my head against his thigh, breathing him in, letting the weight of what we had just begun to settle over me. He pulled me up gently, his lips brushing against my forehead. Good girl, he murmured. This is only the beginning.